Anything got ugly?
I've been thrown out of malls. I've been thrown out of coffee shops. One guy thought I was doing black magic. Once I got a random call who was convinced I came in his dreams to ruin his life. Oh, by the way, I forgot. You're performing for Dhoni. I'm like, Dhoni? Dhoni translated the entire show for me for 20 minutes.
Do you consider yourself an artist?
So I started living in a 1 arcade. So I randomly on my feed I watch a video of a mentalist. I didn't even know what a mentalist meant those days. Messi is more like an introvert who does not advertise. People say they have been fascinated by magic or mentalism since being a kid. I never did anything. If you ask me, Narpath, is there a different mentalist who's more talented as an artist than me at a place where you are extremely talented but you're not being paid for it?
How do you tackle that?
If you want to make it, you have to think like a businessman. No way.
Thanks for finally, making this happen.
We have
Good to know.
We've been meaning to do this for very long, but
Indeed.
I'm so glad I made this today.
Yeah, and I think a lot of common interests and connections from the last 20 minutes of conversation we've had.
Yes, I thought we'll have a lot of common interests when it comes to business or marketing or...
We haven't even gotten to that. Who knows?
We haven't even spoken yet. I met him 20 months back and we've just been vibing like we've known each other for so long.
Exactly. I think it makes sense. Like we have a common connection. Vidhu, who worked here, who worked with us. So
Vidhu worked with you, and he was working with me right now.
Yeah, so makes sense. I think like-minded people. So
starting point is Vidhu.
Right. Glad. So I think we were talking about a lot of things, but a lot of mutual interests, and one thing I've realized is for someone to become successful in any field of life, right? They need wealth of experience, diversity of experience, having done multiple things, etc. And sport is one of those key, I think, contributors to building any kind of personality, no matter which field and domain you might be working in. So it makes sense. You have these interests that come from, football, Man United, these sort of similar. But like, what is your origin story like? What is childhood like? Where did you grow up? What kind of a child were you? Curious to know.
I grew up as an introverted, fat kid. I'm still fat.
I don't think so.
No, but I grew up. I think when I see my older photos, when I was in my 15, 16, I was 80, 85. And I attribute, if I have done something in life, I don't know what I've done, but if we have some success in life, that goes back to my childhood.
Right.
In fact, today research says everything that you do, that you decide, or the kind of decisions you make, kind of path your life takes, is kind of going back to your childhood. So I attribute a lot of my whatever is happening in life currently back to my childhood, because whether it's sports or wanting to convert my body from being a fat kid to a fitter dude, or having no confidence to teaching confidence, having not able to even have eye contact, I wouldn't stand straight because I've always been insecure.
Right.
Couldn't talk to girls. I was average at everything. I would do everything, but I was still average. And my sister was a topper in the same school. Right. So but her teachers would bring her papers and show it to my class. Look at the handwriting, look at the marks, and they will very slyly look at me.
What is the age difference?
1 year.
Oh. Okay.
So if I were 11, she would be in 12. And she was a topper of the entire school.
Right.
And that was quite affecting me, I think. When I think back right now, those days I couldn't, think this is the reason that I want to achieve. Right. But later, as I started getting older, the idea of dying as an average kid bothered me a lot.
Right.
Because I knew I was average, but dying as one bothered me a lot.
Right.
So then I picked up mentalism because this art form taught me not just how to present something, but in fact it changed my lens I look life through.
Right. But this happened much later, I'm assuming, like 20s.
This happened, I'm 33 right now. This happened when I was 22. I just finished a decade.
Right. Oh, great. Congrats.
Thank you. What is, I'm going to ask you a question. Right, sure. I'm sure you're torturing people asking so many questions.
Okay, well, torturing is like
torturing is a bad term.
Not a bad term. It's a little, okay, maybe. We should do a survey. Probably they would say, it's okay.
So, why me? Why podcast? Why virality, and why me? 3 questions.
Why podcast? I think simply put, I've always spent time in the last 6-7 years, or even before that, probably good 10 years ago, just going out and meeting people, different walks of life, listening to what they've done, what their journey has been like, and then equating that to the outcome of what they've achieved. When I was starting up, basically, I didn't have any background in business. I didn't have any fancy educational title that I could hold to leverage and get into meetings, etc. A lot of things were done through pure cold call and selling yourself. Also in the early days, I was very aware I don't know shit, like simply put, right? So I would just go on YouTube and watch documentaries of entrepreneurs, how they made it, and these big companies. Let's look at Reliance, or be it Google or Apple and stuff like that. I was very inspired by certain stories, and you can see a Steve Jobs
I can see.
portrait here that sort of tells you why and how. So very touched by some people and what they've done. So now that is a very 50,000 feet in the air story which everybody has access to, but the beauty is there are people doing similar things even at the ground level. You might have someone down the street doing some crazy stuff that you don't know about. So I think I started to just go meet people, and
I'm just curious, how old were you?
21 to 23, around that time.
Still almost like kid.
Yeah,
Almost.
it for sure. Like, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I couldn't wait to grow up as a kid.
Understood.
I felt possibilities were endless, and I was always looking ahead, everything I did. So I think maybe there was a bit of that, and again, coming from sport and all those, there was a lot of real life experience.
I think this point, having spoken to a lot of, modestly successful people, this is a common trait. Always wanting to grow up fast and looking always ahead, not just looking for tomorrow, looking always like 5 years ahead, or this has been a common trait I've been noticing.
You will also you can also trace that in those people when they write, in their handwriting, leaning forward, the curves of their alphabets, spacing between letters, spacing between words.
This is totally
calligraphy. So I have great memory because I learned this in some extracurricular class in school in class 7 or 6.
Okay.
But then this also, I think, is a little bit genetic because my dad is great in chess. He was rank 2 in India at the age of 14.
Wow.
Back when chess wasn't recognized in schools and so forth.
Is your dad some sort of a legend?
I guess in those circles. Unfortunately, I never grew up in the places he grew up in, or in his community, a section of society, or those friends. I think
we are more urban and more.
Yeah, I moved away from those areas long ago, and I never spent time there. But I have seen him play 1 against 3
chess.
Yeah, he's 1 player against 3 players, 3 boards.
I'm supposing he's some sort of a genius.
He plays mind chess. Rook to e4, and then queen to whatever.
Isn't chess played with mind? I mean, what is mind chess?
It is. There's no board. So it's you and I like this. We are playing chess. There's no board. There's no.
What are you saying?
Yeah, mind chess. It's famous. A lot of people do that.
What is this?
So I have seen. So apparently, I've seen in some movie in some place. But there's one scene in a movie where one guy is sitting and playing against 24 people, and it's like a auditorium. He's on a stage with a mic, and then he just says, "Okay, table 2. I'm making this move. I'm making that." I don't know how far that's true, but I've seen my dad do that. So I've tried once against 2 people.
If I'm playing mind chess with you, I don't know what tangents we're going into from childhood to mentalism to your journey to mind chess. But how if I'm making a move in my mind, how would you know what move I made? So
it's memory.
So you can make a counter move.
It's memory. So you by heart the entire chessboard and every single pawn or soldier element. I don't know what that's called, but anyway,
queen or
whatever.
Horse,
right?
whatever.
Your players basically. You memorize the exact position. So so the chessboard is limited. It's finite.
Oh, okay.
So you know what the moves are. So the people who are good at chess generally tend to have great memory, photographic memory of almost. So I think genetically I got that, which means I retain information very easily. So I could, as a result of which, remember these kind of things, which is where calligraphy and all those points come. So the dash that you put in a T, right, in a small letter T, is actually gives you insight of how much confidence you have. So if you write little and then put the T's dash lower on the alphabet, the letter or the alphabet, then it's at that moment in time you're low on confidence. If it's very high, you're high on confidence, pumped, energetic.
Wow.
So these are small things I picked up. The O's.
This is not. See, most people don't know this.
Yeah.
Even although I'm
randomly this information came out. I had I didn't think I was going to speak about this, but yeah.
See that's so.
Even the O, the number of circles in your O defines, I think, your are you prone to lying, you don't lie, stuff like all that. Clean O's
I'm not showing my handwriting to you.
But these are just small things I picked up. I think someone probably came to class and did like this special half-an-hour session to woo kids. And then
these things do hold a lot of truth to all of this. I mean, psychology is the biggest industry ever, right? I mean, if I could
if I could make you think what I wanted to think, there is no bigger power.
100%. So yeah, and you asking me. So yeah, basically, I think I used to go out and meet people and then have conversations and like these. And I said at one point, I said, like, might as well just record it and put it. And it's effortless for me in that sense, because it's so. I keep telling people I don't look at myself as a creator. I don't look at myself as an influencer. I probably never will. I don't think it's a priority. There's good and the bad to this. The bad is the fact that Joe is always bugging me saying, hey, we need to post this, we need to do this, we need to ask this question. Like today, Vidhu was telling me, asking about this thing, it'll become a hook for your video. I'm like, yeah, sure, probably. But at some point, we'll probably cover it. But like, I don't look at it that way. My definition of my role is I'm the founder of this organization. I'm the CEO. I have responsibilities towards people who work here in the organization, and that's what I do.
Okay, that is your priority.
This side gig.
Mm-hmm. What if this blows up and you become the Indian Joe Rogan? Or
then I will use it for the business while that's still being my
the priority is that.
Yeah, I think
this can become a funnel or something.
Probably. I think, we sell this as a service, right? So as a business, I understand the benefits and the power of creating content for yourself and leveraging brand. It's the number one arbitrage in today's society, and everybody should do it. But at the same time, I think you can be very serious about it, operate at fifth gear, or not be serious and operate at first gear.
Understood.
Or, just go with the flow at third gear. I drive a lot, so I think that's the references. But I think this is a no-brainer that I'd rather document and make this a form of storytelling or leverage it towards my brand in some ways.
Glad to be a part of your journey. I think which episode am I? Sixth.
Funny enough, I have I used to do another show. We stopped it for time being. It's called Virality 101, which is what Vidhu used to help me with.
Okay.
So Vidhu was my co-host on that. So we would basically pick questions of the internet regarding our line of work, and I would answer them in how we look at it. So we have always had problem doing episode 6 on anything we did internally. Either the audio would get corrupted, the file would get corrupted, or we would just...
I will be an exception.
Yeah, hopefully. Right?
Hopefully, that's
so. So we'd never do it. So I'm really glad I got around to doing that. Yeah. Your second part of your question is on virality, right?
So my first part was why virality? Why podcast? Which you want? Great answer. Why virality and why me? Third is.
Why virality? I mean, you mean why this company? Why I chose to do it?
Yeah. Why?
Very simple answer. I'll tell you. This is a great story.
I would love to listen.
I had a startup prior to this which failed, which is about sport. So I was creating the Premier League, right, for schools. So I would go to schools and then get them to sign up to play a football league on weekends on a home and away format in their ground. So other students could come and watch.
Understood.
There were a whole host of reasons why it didn't work out. But during that, one of the things we did is we managed our own Facebook page and grew it organically to 900 likes, which in 2014 was like a big thing to achieve that in a week. In a month, sorry. Which I don't know if it was that big, but whoever it is made a big deal out of it. So I think a year after, I was figuring what to do next. And I was at this bike service center in Indranagar, and someone came up to me who I knew through an acquaintance or whatever and said, hey, I heard you guys are into sports marketing. We weren't. But he said,
yeah, we are.
Right? So he said, hey, I have this sports arena or venue that I've started. Can you manage our social media accounts? I said, sure. He said, how much will you charge? And I'm like, people pay for this? like, cool. I said, I'll get back to you. Right. So we went back with a one-page A4 sheet document and charged 8,000 rupees for doing whatever we were doing for a month.
That was your first introduction to a paid social media.
Yeah. So
gig.
They said yes, and then they gave us another 12,000 to boost posts on Facebook. So good 20k deal. I still have that proposal, by the way, in my room. It's laminated and hung up along with all those awards we have. So literally saying, I think I was in a moment in life where I was trying to figure out what to do next. And I've always liked marketing, and I was going, so I found an interest in social media analytics. I liked looking at numbers and figuring.
You still do?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I can. Now I don't.
You're an engineer?
No, I did BBA. Like, I hardly went to college. I was in Jain College. We could get away without attendance.
I can imagine.
I had like 2% in my final semester. And so, I mean, it's a different story, but yeah.
that'll become another podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
On its own.
On its own. So yeah, so I think we did that, and we just got a client, and then I think that referral or word of mouth brought in another client. But this is somewhere where I was freelancing for a few months. But then after that, I went into a consulting firm. My friend worked friend and mentor who initially helped me out with, who I actually play football with even now. So he was, I think he was big deal. He was head of marketing, Speedo India and Brand Capital and Yum Brands and all that, worked in big corporate. So I was meeting him often to like pick his brain and learn from him. So he joined a consulting firm as a partner and he had some international clients.
Okay.
So he needed help on one thing, which I sort of did as a favor. And then it trickled into him wanting me to work on some projects. And then at that time, my friend was trying to crack some deal with some international client company trying to get a franchise. He didn't know how to do it. Came to me. I wrote a cold email. Came a response from an American company.
Cold email without ChatGPT those days.
Nothing. Just
No
I
ChatGPT.
drafted it. I still have
You were
those
the
emails. Yeah, I was. And then I think that went into a good 6-month conversation with these bunch of American folks who didn't know my age, who didn't know who I was.
Like random.
Yeah, like I just emailed their website and then they sent an email back and then it went on for
This is real hustle, right?
Yeah,
Genuine
yeah.
hustle. Like,
I was doing a favor and then my friend's like, hey, now you emailed, I can't talk, now you talk. I was like, okay, I'll talk. So I started to respond to emails acting on behalf of my friend.
the whole thread is on you now.
Yeah.
Not just the first cold email.
Full. So I built a trust with them for 6 months without meeting them. So then they say, we're coming to India. We'll meet you. Let's evaluate the business. Then I realized, oh shit, this has become serious. My friends also my age, we were both 22, 23. We didn't know what to do with it. So I went to this consulting firm and said, hey, I have this franchisee business that's coming from this US company. They're interested. My friend's willing to put up the money and do this business, but he has no idea how to go about it. He needs help. You guys are professionals. They said, okay, cool. So I worked with them to make that deal happen, which happened. And that went on for another 6 months, somewhere in 2015. So then they said, just join us. So end of 2015, so I worked 6 months or so, no pay, just experience, trying to learn things. 2016, I went and joined there full time. Did 1 year there properly, on the books. 1 year without being on the books, no pay. And towards the end, I was also invariably managing social media, digital marketing, tech, because I was the only guy who understood tech in that company, so I became CTO. They were building out apps, websites. I liaisoned with the agencies, did that. Towards the end, I liked that more than the pure consulting we did, because my issue with whatever consulting at that time I felt was a old person's game, or someone senior who's done everything in life is sitting and advising. At that age, I didn't want to just sit and tell people what to do. You got to do something. So I think I liked this and I figured there's a market fit for this service and I just started out. So I sat in Costa Coffee, old Costa Coffee on 12th May. That was my office for first 2 months with a bunch of freelancers. So started off from there. So that's just incidental, I think. And now that we have people who are so accoladed in the world of advertising, 10, 12 years. I have a partner now who's 20 years in the business.
Like OGs.
Yeah, so when I speak to them, they have similar stories of how they stumbled into this line of work. And they say, in advertising, you don't choose advertising. Advertising chooses you.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting thing. And one thing I like about this field and why I'm in it actually is that you live with the pulse of the market. So anything new, the business is about being creative. On top of that, any new technology that's there that you can implement and use to sell something, you are required to know it first. If you're not, then you're just getting left behind. So there's a demand to every day be on your toes and just be on top of the game. So being someone who aspired to be, let's say, a cricketer, playing intensive sport every day, training every day, from that lifestyle to this form of a corporate life,
structure.
I love it. Which I didn't at consulting, because day was done at 6. Then you didn't know what to do. There was no pressure to do extra. Could go home, could go out. Like
and here it's yours. It's like
there's
giving birth
that
to a
as well.
child.
Yeah.
Like from scratch.
Correct.
You're sculpting is the right word.
100%.
Bit by bit.
Exactly.
And
so
when you turn back, it's yours. I mean, life happens once, right?
Correct.
We create, die. Create till the last second and die.
Yeah, exactly.
And then why me? Last question.
Yeah, I think, I've heard so much about you in the last
Good or bad?
4 years. Good. All good. The one thing that has always stuck out, and we'll talk about this, is that famous video of yours with MS Dhoni. Right? We'll talk about it. But I've heard so much about you from Vidhu, and I think Karan, who's here, who's also met you at one point. And I think I've seen your content online. I know what you do. I know very little about what it is to be a mentalist, being very frank. So this episode is going to be great for me. That way I'm getting to learn.
Please, I will.
So I think very excited that way. And I thought, why not? you also seem like someone who's straight up. You are what you are, what you see.
Yeah.
There's no
The whole
filter.
idea of having a facade doesn't make. I mean, it's a waste of time, I think.
Yeah.
And if I'm wasting your time, I think I'm a bad guy. Maybe I don't deserve to waste anybody's time.
Right.
I feel, and nobody deserves to waste mine. I know it's very brutal. I know it may sound even harsh, but time is
It's
honest. Time is everything.
Right.
We can earn money back. We can earn people back. You lose a bungalow, you can buy it back. Time cannot be bought.
Right.
So I should be a culprit, or I should be. It's evil to waste someone's time. So my philosophies are very dark.
Yeah,
But it's real, but works for me.
Yeah.
But thank you. Really, genuinely means a lot. Every association I make or I create, I cherish because I think life is extremely short.
Right.
So I hope our friendship goes a long way. That doesn't have to be just a podcast, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's play together football soon.
Yeah.
Once my leg is back.
Great. Looking forward to it. Yeah. I have to dive into this now, which is I was reading upon you about your life, and then I think you were a management consultant, moved.
Briefly.
Yeah.
1 year.
Before all that, let's talk about that phase between childhood to first job, which I think molds people, in a very big way. Those experiences from the time you're probably in your late teenage to early youth. What is that like? You went into engineering, I guess.
I finished engineering.
Okay. What branch?
I can't claim I finished. I joined. I got my degree done.
Right.
Mechanical.
Okay.
Back in Chennai. I'm a Chennai boy.
Oh, nice.
Who moved to Bangalore and life changed in Bangalore.
Right.
Got settled here. Finished engineering. Came here for my first job. I came to Bangalore because my girlfriend at that point had a job here, and then as the amateur, I don't know, small town kid that I used to be, I thought I'll get married to her. She's the one, right? So I came here. I did not work. I would just spend time with her. I would do 2 hours of coffee break, 1 hour of lunch. I would hardly work. Finished mechanical, got into software, Accenture. I think I can mention, and I've done so many shows for them after they sent me out. So after 8 months, they said my performance is hardly anything, which I deserved, and suddenly they said you should leave. Either we put you on a performance, you learn something and do, or you leave.
Right.
I don't know what is the right word. Confidence is not the right word. What arrogance I had at 21 to say, yeah, sure, let me go. At 21, I said, let me go. And one day I'm jobless, and this, no disrespect to anybody. After I lost my job, this girl left, and then I lose my sister.
Oh.
Yeah. So series of bad events happen in a span of 10 days. Then I start realizing what is life. If money and job can go in one day, if love can go in one day, if people can go in one day, what is life? I'm glad these harsh events happened to me very young. Today I've become a very positive, stoic is the right word I would use, and I'm a little overconfident to face anything.
Right.
Something crumbles down, I think I'm overconfident to get up and lose.
Right.
I'm overconfident to lose everything that I have and start something from scratch.
Right.
So that attitude happened very young in life.
Right.
So then I become a little suicidal, little lonely. I live in a 1 RK in Thavrakare, if you guys know Bangalore, near Christ College. So I started living in a 1 RK. Then I moved to a different job. That is when my consulting job started.
Right.
So 8 months of Accenture being thrown out, a series of bad events. Then I joined consulting. That is another 8 months, and that 8 months changed everything. So I started living in a 1 RK, and to come out of this bad phase, I'm looking for a strong hobby to focus on. And very, very accidentally, this is back in 2013 when YouTube was not as rapid as it is today. So I randomly on my feed, I watch a video of a mentalist. I didn't even know what a mentalist meant those days. So the video I'm stumbling upon, and I'm glad when you use the word stumble upon, because advertising chose you. Very similar to me. I did not want to become a mentalist. I didn't even study.
Right.
I was not today when I talk to a lot of people say they have been fascinated by magic or mentalism since being a kid. I never did anything. I did not have a magic kit. I never held a deck of cards before. It happened to me. So while I was through this bad phase, I'm seeing this video of a mentalist, and the video I see is this guy sitting 1-to-1 with a person. Let's say I was the mentalist, and this mentalist is making the other person feel drunk just by talking, just by his voice.
Oh.
So I'm watching this video. I'm wondering, this is bullshit. Either both are actors, or this mentalist is some sort of a god. He's not human. Then there's a guy called Darren Brown. I don't know how many people will know.
Right.
He is an OG, a legend. It's sad today people are talking about me or other normal dudes. I'm very, very normal compared to him. Legend. So I see him. Then I started watching him over and over. I got fascinated when I saw this video. I told myself, this is the distraction I'm looking for.
Right.
If I somehow caught on to this, if I start understanding how this worked, I will be able to come out of my bad phase. I was telling myself. And first time in my life, I took responsibility on my shoulder. First time in my life, I wanted to risk something. Why I want to risk is because I had nothing to lose. Right. Everything is lost already. And I'm glad it happened very young. So I took that as a pursuit.
Right.
So I would go learn something on the internet for free, and I would perform the same thing at office. Then the biggest decision I've ever taken in my life till today, that has changed my life 180 degrees or 360 is, I decided to go on streets. So having grown up as a fat introverted kid, learning something totally new and wanting to perform this on streets with random cold strangers, that journey taught me not just about how to present something or how to read minds or how to I think I can even say these are kind of psychological tricks.
Right.
If I approached you on streets as a random 23-year-old kid and I'm claiming to you that can I read your mind, I think that gave me a sort of atrocious over self-confidence. I don't know. I'm not sure how to exactly put this, because I'm hustling.
Right.
I'm learning something new in the morning, testing it at office in the afternoon, having the balls to do this to a random stranger who can say no to me.
Right.
In the evening.
Right.
I lived that life for 1 year.
Yeah.
And everything I have goes back to that 1 year.
Right.
Then I quit my job. Then 1 more year of full-time street performance. Kormangla, Indiranagar.
No Church Street?
Those days, no. No. I did a lot of Empire Street.
Right.
Empire Kormangla.
Right.
I would stand on street. So then I understood how to read somebody from a distance. How to gauge if let's say if I saw you from distance, I will have to understand, okay, who are you with? From your body language, are you there with your girlfriend? Is that your wife? Is that your mom, sister, friend, colleague? If I approached you right now as a random cold stranger in a random street, why should you say yes to me? Then if you say yes to me, then I still have to prove it to you.
Right.
If I have to prove it to you, I have to somehow convert you into sort of a fan. Then I have to make you follow me. In this process, I'm understanding everything.
Right.
Hook. How to hold attention. Angles. What to speak, when to speak.
Right.
So I'm understanding not just mentalism as an art form. I'm understanding life itself.
Right.
Sorry, I spoke for too long.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think so. If it wasn't for that adversity, that period of life, do you think you would have gone on to do things the way you've done now?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. And if I ever wrote a book, I want to. I will want to write a book on, if shit is not happening in your life on its own, go find shit.
Right.
Again, my philosophies are very, very brutal and dark.
Right.
If enough shit is not happening, I will go find shit, put myself through it, get battered, learn, come back and work on the learnings and become modestly I think you can become a legend if you go find, imagine to having the mindset to go find shit, go through it, learn, come back, you are inevitably a legend.
Right.
You will become one.
Right. And this is so interesting because I stumbled upon this concept actually when I was in that consulting firm.
Okay.
This lady came and then they did some services for schools, and then we were trying to assess how you could improve that as a business. She spoke about how they would do EQ and IQ analysis for kids.
Okay.
And a third thing, called AQ. Okay?
What is AQ?
So same thing I asked. Okay? So I was like, what is this? My colleague and I still remember memory that those conversations. She said it's adversity quotient. She said it's
Interesting.
the ability of kids, right? How they thrive in adversity.
Wow.
Their ability to overcome adversity. And I was like, wow, this is like so we often, I remember IQ was a big talking point. Even when I was a kid, we had these exams.
IQ is overrated.
It is, right? But then there was a lot of focus and emphasis on what is your IQ score, etc., etc. Then EQ came about at some point in time, and people would talk, I mean, still relevant today, and I think how empathetic you are is very quintessential to, you know, the kind of social connections you make and how you read people progress. It's all tied in together. AQ nobody talks about.
I
right?
think after you have mentioned this, I think it should become a study.
Exactly, right? So I learned this very at the right point. I think I was 24 probably when I learned, or 23, just before I started out, and I was like, this makes so much sense. Then what I started to do also was the same, which is whenever I meet people, I actually compare on all these three parameters. What is your IQ, which is evident if you have long conversations. It's one of the things why I love podcasts, because in a 15-second clip or in a 1-minute Instagram video or whatever it is that you do on a short form content, it's very easy to seem or
Bluff.
portray yourself in a certain way.
Yeah.
In a long conversation, an hour, 2
If you
hours,
don't have
you will get
content,
found out.
You
right?
will absolutely
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of podcasters today get stick when they dive into conversations and realms that they have no understanding about. And then those, like, they invariably have to make conversations, so they have to say something. And then that comes across as very stupid or misinterpreted. So it's a very good test that way, long form conversations. EQ, again, you can measure it in personal interactions, small, big, whatever. AQ is very hard to get. How do you know,
AQ is real, I think.
it's real, right? It's
It's-
deep down,
yeah.
especially if and also I think people who actually have the greatest of adversity quotients don't really display it, because they've seen far bigger shit in life than whatever problem they're in, and then they're using it, building, I mean, whatever, right? It's never expressed, but subconsciously it's there. So every time you encounter a problem and you overcome it, it becomes so much more easier,
Yeah.
right? If it comes again, and then you're moving on to bigger problems. So I've always found this in people who have gone on to do great things in life, that they have at some level been challenged, consciously or subconsciously they have been, and then that's formed a great integral part of their, you know, or their framework.
Yeah, it can become muscle memory, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Naturally.
Right. And then I think then there's the other elements of what enhances your craft as an individual, your practice, your dedication.
That is different.
Etc. etc. But at that base layer, that's something, right? And a lot of people, I think in today's generation especially, and when I say today's generation, I feel people who are spent the last 15 years of their life, or who are still probably sub 25. Sorry, Joel. Right? Where I think our society in India, we've economically advanced so much, right? So there's no need to actually move out and face adversity, because you're comfortable.
Correct.
Everything is built for you. And as a result of which, I feel those, like, the approach is very different. So unless that kind of a moment comes in your life, often at times, people don't really try to break the ceiling and push beyond. Even for me, for that matter, if I mean, obviously I did stumble upon it, but if my first startup didn't fail, and if I wasn't so invested in it and accepted that failure, I would not have moved on to doing the second. Again, I think because I've played sport all my life, that first failure didn't stop me. I moved to the second and said, okay, whatever it is, I moved on. So for a lot of people, I feel that the flame comes from adversity, that fire sort of.
I think people can just be categorized into two things. Everybody faces adversity. I think 90% get stuck. The rest become you and me.
Right.
Or people, like anything. So I think the common denominator is adversity. Everybody is facing from the smallest of people to the biggest of people. Most people stop and give up. The rest few have the, I don't know, what is the right word? I'm running out of words. Yeah.
No worries. We'll edit that in somehow.
Edit that.
So on that point, right, I want to ask you this, because you spoke about not having confidence and then now coaching people on those skill sets, etc. I have to ask this because mental health is such a big conversation today. Do you encounter that? Have you sort of helped people get through is there a different way of looking at it? Because I for one don't believe that mental health is a new phenomenon. I think it's been there forever.
It's been there for centuries.
From the beginning of mankind.
From the beginning of mankind, true.
Right? Obviously, today it's got a certain level
Today
of attention.
there's a large market as well.
Exactly, right? I think that's another very interesting
Yeah.
way to look at it as well. A capitalist would, right? So I think it's being termed in certain ways and it's been given a certain amount of structure. But I've had stress, pressure, certain points in life, say traces of depression, being unhappy, sad, unable to do things, lack of motivation, drive, all those things even I've had at certain points in life. I'm certain a lot of people go through that as well. But in your career and in your profession of helping people, have you come across that? And have you what is your take on it? Because it's marketed as a new phenomenon for certain reasons.
You rightly put it. It's been existing ever since first man was born. So professionally I don't, but personally I think modestly I've helped a lot of people because very similar journeys I've had, and I was not lucky enough to get somebody, and I'm lucky enough to have the experience to help somebody, but professionally no. Professionally I keep myself to performing mentalism as an artist,
right,
where I'm entertaining. I speak, companies hire me to customize a complex corporate message and present it in a very fun or engaging format. Then I have my own edtech platform where I teach. So I've kept myself to performing, speaking and teaching. But I think as I'm getting older, I think my second half can possibly pivot into helping people who are going through mental issues. I may.
Right.
Either I'll pick philosophy, football, mental health, or I'll do all three. That'll be my second half. My first half was more about, being cool. You call me average, I'm going to prove it to you. It was more like my first half was more based on a little bit of a challenge, or I'm going to prove you wrong, or I'm going to prove to myself. My second half should be more giving, be a contributor to the welfare of humankind. I don't know. I'm just 33, but I talk little. I feel older than 33.
Right.
Is my understanding of myself.
Got it.
I think everybody's second half should be there's this philosophy. I forgot who told this. The phases for every human is you're born, teenage, make mistakes, learn something, teach your learnings to somebody, die. That is, if you look at it, that's all it is, right?
Right.
You make mistakes, learn it, teach it to somebody, and die.
Right. Interesting. Anyway, coming back to this, so I've grown up watching David Blaine.
David Blaine,
right?
You liked him?
Yeah. I saw that coin trick where he bites it off and then spits back. Later on, I think I read somewhere there was a flip coin, whatever.
Okay.
Him being submerged in water, ice for 7 days.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of. I think he used to come on AXN, right? I think he had a show on AXN, if I'm not wrong.
His AXN show was aired in 82 countries.
Yeah, and he became famous on that. I think I've seen the one where he's in a trash can and then he blows it up, but then he shows up at the 4th floor of the building next. I've seen various stuff.
He has done vertigo. He didn't sleep for 10 days. He didn't eat and sleep for 10 days. He's a maniac.
Yeah,
in a very good sense. He's one of my heroes.
And all of that would get covered in newspaper back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember my mom would tell me, do you know this guy was in water for 7 days? It was a big thing, right? So everybody spoke about it. And I think it was one of those unbelievable feat. Is he superhuman? So how is he able to do this? All those kind of narratives were there. And obviously there was also skeptics on the other side. Say, I know it's all rigged, it's all fixed. Behind the camera, he comes out of the water. All that I'm certain. But that was my first glimpse of anyone who did magic tricks, right? In today's day and age. And I think if you look at what a mentalist is, by definition, it is that. It's basically magic tricks.
Other mentalists probably would probably dodge this question or give you random answers that won't make sense to you. But I from my day one, I've been very, very extremely straightforward with respect to how I do what I do. It is an extended psychological form of magic. We use psychological techniques, but does not mean we're born with anything supernatural. No, bullshit. If I really had powers, why am I performing for money? I could make money, right? I could just take this and make money, right? Yeah. I'm performing for money. I'm speaking for money. I'm teaching for money.
Right.
There's a lot of passion involved, but at the end of the day, it's giving me a monetary value, right? If I really had powers, I'll become the president of United States, right? I don't.
Right. So there's a lot of illusion.
Illusion, I would not use the word, right word would be illusion. What word to use? Illusion is for sure involved.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I'm performing for you, I want to leave an impression that I somehow gave you an experience that others cannot. I made you think. I made you feel warmth. I entertained you. To achieve all of this, illusion has also been used.
Right. So very interesting you touched upon that. So what's your philosophy towards your
My philosophy
craft?
is I'm using mentalism to make your day, to entertain you, to educate you, to empower you, to tell you a different story that others cannot.
Right.
A comedian can tell a different story, but I think I will include magic also here, because another thing is you cannot become a mentalist without understanding that form of magic.
Right.
You cannot straight away become a mentalist.
Right.
The starting point is magic. So I perform magic in my initial days. I like the more psychological, verbal form of magic. I like sleight of mouth than sleight of hand.
Right.
That is what made me pivot more into mentalism. So my philosophy today, having done this for like a decade, again initially it was more about me. Hey, I'm cool. You know what? This girl or this company is finding me cool. That was my initial 4 years. My last 4 years have been very different. I'm a channel, or I'm a way for you to experience something that is very, very unique.
Right.
That is very, very profound. Also, this is the only art form, again, I'm being biased here, this is the only art form where I can shake hands with you, right? I can do this.
Sure.
A comedian can't.
Right.
A singer can't. I mean, no disrespect to anybody. I can touch you. I can ask what is your name during a proper professional show, right? I can ask what is your story, and I can do something based on your story. That becomes, so my transition has been first 5 years of Narpath. From after 5 years, a series of events happen, or anything forward will be about you.
Right.
If I want to make you feel special than it is about me.
Right. Very interesting. So how do you? So I know David Blaine. That's my reference.
You're more
point.
David Blaine.
Okay. That's my reference point.
No,
that's
please.
what that I know and relate to in a way. I was a kid or teenager. Is his philosophy like? Do they all have different philosophies when it comes to their craft? Like, is his to like blow your mind by showing something that's never been done? Like, do mentalists go around? Do they find that niche? Like, is there a certain?
Yeah. Based on what you have learned or understood about life, will project in your craft.
Right.
At least when it comes to, I think every artist, I think so, because each singer is different. Although both are singing, each actor is different. Although both are acting, each football is different. Messi is like being liked by so many people, and Cristiano is being liked by so many people. But at the end of the day, both are great players. But Messi is more like an introvert who does not advertise, or Cristiano is a phenomenal businessman. He understands everything about life also, apart from football.
Right.
But doesn't take anything away from these two people.
Right.
So David Blaine will have a philosophy. I think I've not spoken to him. I would love to. So his philosophy will be more about pushing the limits.
Right.
If I could make this cup disappear right in front of you, if I could do it, then he will think, what if I make this same cup signed by you inside your, let's say, your drawer?
Right.
That will be his philosophy.
Got it.
My philosophy is coming from a very introverted kid who wanted attention. So my philosophy will be very different. My approach will be very different.
Right.
So based on whatever has happened in your personal life, you bring it to your craft. And that is when it will be original for you. If I start doing what David Blaine or Darren Brown is doing, I am still copying, which I did. Initially, I used to have a man crush on them, dress up like them, have a beard like him, talk like him, like change my voice like him. But later I realized what a blunder I've been doing, what a copycat I've been. And Narpath has to speak like Narpath.
Right.
Whatever accent I have, wherever I come from, whatever skin I have, should be me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right.
So David Blaine will have a different philosophy to mine.
Right.
And there is no comparison between anybody. Tomorrow if you have a competitor like you, he is him and you are you. The biggest strength always have is our own uniqueness, right?
Yeah, definitely. I like it.
I've learned one thing to feel very comfortable in my own skin. I used to be extremely insecure. I would always do the comparison game. Oh, he has that. He is good looking. He has a car, whatever, right?
Right.
So mentalism taught me how not to do it, because I'm learning to present my story,
Right.
which cannot be told by anybody else.
Right.
And today you're telling your story, virality is yours. No matter how good I am at advertising, I can still copy maybe the success, but the impact is made by you.
Right.
That is very, very unique to you, and you're the only person who will die with that.
Right.
Sorry guys,
It's very interesting. I think
I'm,
no, I mean you need to have a unique perspective to
Yeah.
to things in life, or else there's a great saying, right? You want to be an anomaly, act like one. So
What is that?
you want to be an anomaly, you want to be different.
Act like one.
You
Oh.
act like one. You
True,
be
true,
different,
true.
right? So I think it's a great. It's good to have such strong point of views on just way to conduct yourself. I think it just helps.
Yeah.
Clarity is, I think, number one thing that keeps you on a track to where
Correct.
you want to go. Because-
And I think you and I have to speak real truth. If we sugarcoat and tell them, you know what, do this something random,
yeah.
just for the sake of saying or helping somebody, and then them doing and taking a longer route, you and I have to tell the exact truth.
Yeah. So
It's our responsibility.
100%, and I'm glad, right? Because in our conversation, we were just talking about it, how I pinged you and said the other things you want to speak about, things that you don't want to speak about, because I'm forced to do this over the last few guests that I've had, because everyone has a certain sense of filter they need to place because of the corporate profiles that they hold. And you sent that one line saying, nothing, I'm an open book, and I'm like, great, I didn't even want to say anything, I just sent you emojis after that.
I felt the emotion.
Yeah, because I think if I had shared this with the team, they also would have been super happy.
I would have loved to meet your team.
Yeah.
Next time.
For sure. But I think it's so liberating in a way, because I don't need a set of questions and things of that nature. I can ask anything, right? And I think, and I know for a fact you will give a very honest answer, because I also think you're very bulletproof. There's nothing to hide and stack anywhere. You are what you are. I think it's very evident in how you speak.
I'm shamelessly what is the right word? Shamelessly, I think, straightforward, brutal.
Yeah.
And it goes back to my philosophy. I have no right to waste their time or your time.
Right.
It's a sin.
Great. On that note, I noticed your ring. It's
This
a skull.
one, this is a 100 rupee one.
Oh wow.
Nobody likes me wearing this. But
Why do you wear? What's the story behind this?
Nothing. I'm just trying to. How do I say? I mean, I was just trying if I can portray a little bit of a goth character, which I'm not. So I'm just challenging I'm a very next door guy.
Right.
But still, I'm just telling myself, if I wore this, somebody will see and.
Is that important in any way?
No,
right?
not
just,
at all.
It's just you're doing it for
Not
your
at
own.
all. Doing it for my own silly
Experimentation.
Not even that. I'm just silly.
Exploration.
I'm just extremely silly. I
Right.
want to be a kid. I want to carry a lot of playfulness in me, a lot of
Right.
childlike behavior in me, because as we get older, it's so easy to get caught up in the money game or status game. I still play the game, but at least to keep myself
Right.
childlike, I do random things.
Right.
I random things, and I buy a lot of cheap stuff. I would buy a lot of fake stuff. I would do random things. Things I wanted to do when I didn't have money, I'm doing right now when I have decent money. That keeps the childlike nature in me, I think. I think it's very vital.
Are you an impulsive shopper? Like you see something and you want to just buy it?
I was not.
You become now.
I've become, thanks to probably you, because without you, Vidhu, I wouldn't have met Vidhu.
Oh, like that.
Vidhu wouldn't have shown me the money side of life.
Right.
With the course.
I'm glad.
I play the status game wherever I have to.
Right.
I play this childlike game to myself,
Right.
just to keep because you mentioned that you have seen me in the football ground, but what I have not mentioned is I've stood and watched your entire game for a couple of hours.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen that?
I mean, I've seen you like at some point, and then
Like
I've
a
seen you
child, like a kid, I would drool and watch. And it's not waste of time for me.
Yeah.
I will take that energy from the 2 hours of watching you guys play and go back and show on something else.
Yeah.
It could be mentalism, it could be private life or anything.
Right.
Sorry, I'm going off tangent.
It's nice. I only asked about the ring because my mom just got me a ring for good luck, and I'm completely away from anything to do with auspicious, attachments that like, add on to value. So just
Maybe try
putting
it
off.
for your mom.
Yeah, probably. I hate rings. I have a problem. I'll lose it for sure. I'm very fidgety with my hands.
Don't get married then.
Yeah.
Are you married? No.
No, not yet. So probably I just get a pendant or something. I don't know. Figure it out. But yeah, I was just curious because of that.
Yeah, it is a cheap ring that I'm carrying just to excite myself.
Probably I should do that. Just see if I can maintain a ring.
Yeah.
Hold on to one.
Yeah, something new you have to keep doing to yourself.
Right.
Life gets extremely mundane, and it's so easy for us to get caught up in the whole business game.
Right.
And I think I consciously make efforts to do silly things to keep myself silly and do silly things while I'm also playing the other game.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it keeps your mental health also check.
Yeah, for sure. So what was your first paid gig?
My first paid gig, Koramangala, there used to be a place called, Burger King, that Airtel Road.
Correct. Yeah.
There used to be a place, I forgot the place name. That was my first gig. I performed for every Friday. I was there for 1,000 rupees.
Wow.
I would perform.
This is what, 2014? 13?
This is 2013. Yeah, just right after I quit my job.
Right.
And this was the time when my parents wanted me to pursue MBA, just like any other kid. So I had saved 20K from my last job. I paid GMAT classes for that. So I would go, and then one teacher actually changed my life. So I was sitting in the first row, hardly listened to anything he was saying. I knew I cannot pursue a normal career. I knew for a fact.
You had a problem focusing, attention-wise, or is it just didn't like to study, or?
I studied average always. I was always in the 60-70 mark. I was convinced, at least before I stumbled upon mentalism, I was convinced, okay, I'll take a very conventional career path. Probably I'll do an MBA.
Right.
And I had a thing for Mica.
Right.
Mica sounded fancy for me. Mica, whatever.
Yeah, it is in a way. It is fancy.
It is fancy for sure.
In a sense that what it gives you after, like graduates earn quite a bit.
Correct.
If you graduate out of that university, so a lot of good teachers also, I guess. But yeah. I don't want to shit on it.
So I would go to MBA class. I did not listen to anything. I did not listen to a word he was saying, and I had the balls to go up to him and say, "Sir, I don't know why I did that." After this class, everybody is like going gaga about the class. I'm going and telling him, shaking hands with him, eye to eye. I'm telling him, "Sir, I didn't listen to your class," and he's like, "Why?" And then I tell him, "No, I have this passion for performing, mentalism, whatever." Then I perform for him. He tells me, "Narpath, if I see you in my next class, I will really take an offense. You should never come to GMAT class. Go perform." So that was a shifting. That was I'm having the balls as a kid to go tell the teacher that I didn't listen to your class, and I perform for him, and he tells me, "Do not come to my class. This is your life." That was a shift.
Funny enough, I've done that in class.
You've done that?
Yeah, once in class.
See, I
had problem
there
focusing.
There are similar stories, right?
No, I had genuine problem focusing if I don't like what is being spoken about.
Understood.
Like I will zone out like that. Right?
I actually saw you while I was saying, you were thinking of your memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
right.
it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You caught it. I knew you would catch it. Anyway, but I did. So I have that problem. So anything and everywhere. So this is very funny. There are a couple of things that I can do in life, even if I have zero focus, right? As in if I'm not. It's just like autopilot. One of them happens to be driving.
Okay.
Like I can go from point A to point B.
Like you can subconsciously drive.
Subconsciously, and I'm just going deep into thought. The other thing that I did like that was batting when I played cricket. Like I would have a thought and it would manifest and I would go deep into it. And then I would just also play before I know 3-4 overs are done. But, I would just be steady and not hit 6 after 6 and not remember, not that, but just be steady. So there are certain things I would do. So I had that same problem in school when there were certain topics and subjects where I couldn't focus. And then at some level, they would brand me saying, "Oh, he's a bad student." But the fact is, no, I'm not bad. I just don't care. So
there's a difference actually.
Yeah, there's a huge difference, right? So at some point it got to me and they were like, "Oh, why don't you know?" I think they caught me off guard and asked me for an answer and I couldn't answer. And they're like, "Why don't you know the answer?" I said, "I was not paying attention. I'm sorry." But next time I'll ensure that. I was also polite enough to say that, being honest and say, "Hey, I didn't pay attention." But also
that's a show of character, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot, but most people won't do it.
How do you build that?
I think conviction. I think you would. I think I would have had probably so much conviction. I just knew 3 tricks. I performed one for him. I think I was mad enough, or I had so much conviction on those 3 tricks. Just like you would have probably had mad conviction on batting than conventional, I think, studies.
Right. No, I didn't mean that. I meant that character, right? The ability to admit that, hey, whatever, like you admitted to your teacher saying so and so, and then you were okay with that consequence. I'm certain, for me, I at least I knew the consequence wouldn't be that high. To be honest, at that point in time in my life where I was, but I was very comfortable being honest, knowing that I would be ridiculed or not accepted. So
I think most people won't do it.
yeah, they won't. Absolutely not.
Most people won't do it. When I think back, why you and I did it, I don't know. What would have, you would have been what? How old were you?
17, I guess.
At least I was 23, 24.
Right.
You did it much before me.
Right.
So you should tell me how you did it before I tell you.
No, I think there's no fear of consequence. That's one.
No fear of consequence.
Yeah. Number two, I think I also know it's not in my assessment of life. Knowing a definition of some term in some economics textbook was not important.
Makes
and
sense.
There's calmness about it. I also think being honest comes from a couple of, I don't know, I'm in the realm of unknown here, but just saying, I liked Superman a lot. I liked Optimus Prime a lot. I liked Goku a lot. These are characters who have very high integrity, very high empathy, very high EQ, and the other
absolute
things
leaders
that comes of leaders, sense of leadership, and I think they would put other person over them. I also think my cricketing idols, if I were to look at it, was Rahul Dravid. Was
Bangalore boy.
Yeah, he used to live in 12th Main, by the way.
Is he still here?
No.
He moved.
I think he's moved on. He grew up on
He grew up here.
So
Okay.
as kids, we used to go there and cycle, and then.
Have you seen him in real
No.
life? Would
Not
you
yet.
want to?
Yeah, of course. At some point.
Cred company is right here. I mean, they'll be doing an ad with him right now.
Probably. Probably.
Let's
No,
walk
they're
into
busy,
that.
They're busy with other things now, I guess.
Let's walk into that ad.
So I think these role models were there, and I think you learn from that, and that I think also I felt my mom instilled a lot of honesty and not lying and those kind of things. So lying brought about a sense of guilt.
Parenting is
So maybe that's why I think I look at those as a thing, which is why I think even in like I've had so many instances in the organization also where things haven't been right. I have no problem in going up into a town hall with 30-40 people, putting my hand up and say, hey, sorry, I fucked up. Like if it's wrong, it's wrong. So I think that comes from that sense of bulletproof feeling that you have, right? Like
no bullshit. I mean, you
Yeah.
can bullshit if you're selling something or whatever, but if you are at a position where people are looking at you, looking up to you, it's a sin to bullshit. It's
exactly.
a sin
Yeah, because I feel it's very easy to lose that credibility.
to, yeah.
One instance,
Yeah.
incident is fine. Even when you try very hard to live the perfect example, it's not easy.
Because when you are when you are telling in front of people, or telling is the wrong word, admitting in front of 40 people that I fucked up is a massive quality than some of sugarcoating and
Yeah, very much.
And people can. The thing is, people can see through.
100%.
People
Especially
can,
like today, everyone's smarter.
people
Very-
can absolutely see through if you're bullshitting, or if, and owning up to a mistake is a massive quality, right?
Yeah,
It helps in, not just helps, it makes you as a person.
100%.
So never shy away from admitting that you're humans. We make mistakes. I mean, we are born to make mistakes. Yeah? Make mistakes, learn, and teach and die.
Right.
That's my one line philosophy. I will want to make a lot of mistakes.
Right.
Learn, get up, teach that to someone, make money
Right.
by teaching. I die.
Right.
Yeah.
So coming back to that first gig, right? So
First gig. So
$1,000 Friday nights.
$1,000 every Friday I used to be there. They used to have a small hoarding. Like I think I probably, if you next year your podcast, I'll come again. I'll bring that.
You have it with you?
I still have.
Oh, nice.
I still have. There. So I had to go from table to table.
Mm-hmm.
I would perform for 4 hours,
Right.
starting from I think 7 to 11. Then I would, whoever liked my performance, I just knew 4 tricks, I think 4 or 5.
Right.
I would perform the same thing at every table,
Right.
but every table will think I know a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning so much, right? Because I'm 24, trying to prove to family that this is my life. And my parents are like, I'm performing, while I'm learning, I'm also performing to my family in a very, very shy manner. My mom was like, I come from a very, very normal, conventional Tamil family.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a retired government officer. Mom is a housewife. All my siblings have taken no risk.
Right.
Literally no risk.
Also, Chennai is little orthodox in that
Chennai
way.
is very
They're
orthodox.
very risk averse. It's not the kind of.
And I come
place-
from a very, not the actual Chennai. I come from little outskirts of Chennai. There, because in Chennai, I think the culture may vary from every 10 kilometers. I think.
Right.
Here, I think you and I living in probably in this side of town. If you live probably in somewhere, let's say Nagwara, or different side of town, I think there will still be a cultural difference or a mindset difference
for sure.
within a city.
Yeah.
So I came from the other side of the other side of Chennai. So I'm performing for my mom. My mom is like, yeah, great. But who will pay money for this?
Right.
So I'm telling her, if I do events, they will pay. My mom is like, what are events? So imagine how do I explain to my mom what are events? Convince them from that point to whatever I was doing.
Right.
It took me 3 to 4 years of convincing. So I would perform, I would make some 20-30K because I was doing tables starting with that gig. So every Friday I was there. Every Wednesday I used to be there at a place called Black Rabbit. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
It's shut down right now.
12th Main, just off
12th Main, yeah. So Fridays there for 1,000 Black Rabbit for I think 2,500. And every Sunday I would do brunches at Crown Plaza in Electronic City.
Right.
If you see how much I was making, I was still making 30-40K, which is little above than my previous job. But to explain this to parents or to even my own friends, my own people, my own first circle were telling me, Narpath, what is this? You're showing card tricks.
Right.
How can you even sustain doing this all your life? I think that is where my ego was driving more than anything else. I think I was telling myself, if you're telling me I cannot do this, at least for you, forget me later, at least for this I'm going to prove I can do this. Until Dhoni happened. When Dhoni happened, it shifted everything.
Great. It's a great segue into that piece of conversation.
All of us understand hooks and
yeah.
segue is the right word.
Exactly. So I think that's my first documented memory of you. I know that you were meeting with the team and there were conversations about 4 years ago, but I never had a chance to interact with you. First thing I saw was that trick with Dhoni, right? So I went and watched it again like few days back now. So just to refresh memory, but then I ensured I wouldn't watch anything else because I just wanted to
get influenced by
I just didn't want to know anything about you in depth, right? Vidhu kept sending me links like read this, read that. I'm like, so I did watch your website, I think one of the videos or so, I think on the courses, but apart from that, I refrained. That's a great piece of content out there on the internet also because Mahendra Singh Dhoni's brain and his mind is very revered, right? Because of everything he has done.
Extremely revered, extremely respected,
He is probably the sharpest cricketer brain that has played for us at least. There might have been many others, I don't know, but he's just unique that way.
Would he be your top 5?
Cricketers of all time?
All time.
Oh.
All time, not saying this generation, all time.
The only reason I would not put him in top 5 is because I don't think he's as prolific a test player as a limited overs player.
Okay, tell me a top 5.
Cricketers of all time, Tendulkar would be my number 1.
Okay, easily. That's an easy spot.
It's no joke. I mean,
over Dravid.
Yeah. He's God. He's not human.
Okay,
so
he's not. He's above.
Different. Bradman, because I think having an average of 99 in any format, in any era, at any point in time is not easy. So Bradman, without doubt. I think after that, I think it's to be honest, a touch and go. I've never rated players that way, but if I was to do so, I would say.
So right now we're standing at Bradman, Sachin.
I would put Wasim Akram. I think he's the greatest bowler ever.
Yeah, I would agree.
And then I would be forced to put in a Murli and Vaughan in the 4 and 5 in whatever capacity.
So 3 bowlers and 2 batsmen.
Yeah, 2 spinners. Difficult
2 spinners.
to
you cannot leave one.
Yeah. I think it's neck and neck, and I think Vaughan's probably a sharper brain from what you've heard and seen about him. But otherwise you just don't have a choice. You have to pick one of everything. Off the lot, for me, Tendulkar's one.
Easy, is it?
Easy. I think it's just joke what he could do. In between, I think a year and a half, he didn't even play. 2005, I think, when he had his tennis elbow. He had 150 wickets or so by that point in time. He finished with, I think, 180 or something. Had he not got injured and stopped bowling, he would have probably hit 300 wickets. That's like an all-rounder properly. And he could turn the ball. He could really, like yesterday I was having this conversation with someone. I think he turned the ball more than the other leg spinners we've had in the last
More than
20 years. Kumble, Chahal.
I'm sorry if Kumble is watching.
Whoever is, he's not.
He's not.
So,
Someday he will.
Yeah.
Soon.
I have a great story with Kumble, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Anyway, so these are like, there's no comparison. So I think he's shoulders above everybody that way. In terms of what he could do, and I think revolutionizing batting at that time in the 90s, and
I think
through generations, right? He played like in all formats.
I remember at least our generation, we used to switch off the TV and go if we got out.
Yeah,
nobody has achieved that feat.
Yeah.
Today, if Dhoni
was hope.
He was hope. Exactly, he was an emotion. Today, I love Dhoni, but still, if Dhoni got out or even Virat Kohli got out, you have a Rohit Sharma, you are still watching.
Yeah.
But those days, although having Ganguly and Dravid, if he got out, nobody could create a culture, a deep-rooted culture in all of us that they would switch off TV and go.
Right.
And I hope. So
having said that, Dhoni would be my all-time captain in limited overs.
All-time captain. You wouldn't put him as an all-time top 5 player?
But he would be my captain.
Okay, if you had to build a world team, he'll be a captain.
Yeah, in ODIs and T20 for sure. Tests, I'm not too sure. Test is a little difficult. I think...
Test he hasn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't. I think there are two guys I think are better test players than him as keeper profile. Gilchrist and Sangakkara. So it's difficult.
Than Kohli?
Yeah, than Dhoni.
Than Kohli? We have
No, Kohli no. Kohli, I think my all-time test 11, I don't think Kohli gets in.
Ooh.
Yeah. Before Kohli from this generation, you would put Joe Root.
Okay. You would put Joe Root over Kohli?
As a test player, as things stand right now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Root has just leapfrogged him, Babar, Kane Williamson,
all of them,
and Steve Smith a little bit. Yeah, Babar I think has a chance because he's younger than everybody. He's I think 28, so he probably, say if everything goes well, plays another 8 years, 9 years. Then I think he'll have better stats. But Joe Root has just jumped. I think he's hit 12,000 runs, in test.
I've stopped following cricket long time back.
So Tendulkar I think is at 15 something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just about 15-8 something I think is Tendulkar's at. He could beat Tendulkar the way he's going now.
I think one cannot be purely measured by numbers.
Sure. So impact
because you said you would never.
So the problem with that is, as a country that we are, our cricketers will get more attention. They will get more eyeballs. They will
100%.
They will get that little extra over anybody else. But I think if you were to pick today's World 11, sure, I think from the team, by the way, this is a very controversial remark, I'll say it. Rohit Sharma is the most talented batsman of our current generation of batters in India. Or even the world for that matter.
Possibly.
He plays cricket like it's tennis.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, he has that 1.5 seconds more than anybody else. It's what Messi does in football. That little extra that he's got to move and whatever. I think the issues are not issues. The only contention would be his fitness. That's just questioned.
Correct.
And overall,
I think right comparison between these two, because again the common quality is childlike. They don't care.
Yeah, probably.
If they were playing on streets, forget the cameras and all the money involved or whatever. Rohit Sharma and Messi are just playing like they're kids. I mean, if you and I were playing on streets, I would try a move that I would not probably try in a paid match. But these guys are doing things that they would do on streets with no fear of failure. I think that having no fear of failure and childlike behavior is very important in professional life as well.
Right. Yeah.
Probably. So we are pivoting. So
that's fine. But
Dhoni is such a great man. People see just that one clip, but I did a 20-minute show. I was hired by Gulf Oil to perform for Gulf Oil, and it was a normal hire. I didn't know I was performing for Dhoni. So I'm in Chennai. That time I'm still performing shows for 30K, 40K, still sort of struggling. I'm getting a random call, even manager saying, "Hey Narpath, are you free tomorrow?" Free? I'm doing nothing. Because I can't tell him I'm acting busy and all. Then he tells me, "Can you travel to Jaipur? I have a gig for you." Sure. I think I charged 55,000 for that. Didn't know I was performing with Dhoni. Then almost like an after.
Would you have charged more?
No, I would have done for free.
Okay.
Right. Meeting him and performing for him is over money.
Right.
Money you can earn. So almost like an afterthought, he's saying, "Oh, by the way, I forgot. You are performing for Dhoni." I'm like, Dhoni? Like, yeah. Then I go. A lot of ruckus happened. They asked me to change a lot of things.
Right.
Because they wanted me to customize for Gulf Oil at the same time for Dhoni.
Right.
They kept changing till last moment. I was preparing. My name is being announced, but still they're asking me to change backstage. I go and then I stand and then it happened in Jaipur.
This is 2018.
This is 2018.
This is the year they came back after getting banned.
I think so.
Yeah, this is the year that they
Because I remember. I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. So
they lost the final, if I'm not wrong, to Mumbai that year. If I'm just
I've stopped following
Right.
cricket, but I think so.
Right.
Because I remember when the video was out, it was so rapidly viral. So what happened that show was 20-minute show, purely Hindi speaking audience, purely an audience who are there to watch Dhoni, not a mentalist. And I cannot, my mother tongue is Tamil, but I cannot even perform in Tamil. I can purely do this in English because the art form demands that. If I started performing in Tamil right now for you, I will look like the old school magician who is pulling rabbit out of a hat. Right? So I'm conscious. I've lost so many shows not being able to perform in different languages but English. They keep calling me for Big Boss. They keep calling for everything Hindi. They keep calling me every year for Kannada, Hindi. I say no because I want to keep this purely to a little bit of an urban audience who can understand the term mentalist.
Right.
So I'm performing in English. These guys have no clue. These guys are struggling to follow.
Right.
Dhoni, for the man, for the stature he is, for the man he is, I would say something in English. He volunteered to translate whatever I was saying in English to Hindi. He translated the entire show for me for 20 minutes. So that is where, whatever you are, I mean, that showed your character. That showed your. He didn't have to. I'm a random
Right.
dude. He doesn't have to do it. So having spent time with him, not having stopped watching cricket, he is my top one. Not for the technical abilities,
Got
but
it.
for the man he was.
Got it.
Technically, I started watching cricket very long time back.
Right.
But in my head, my story until I die he will that one memory. Also because that video is changing my life, has changed my life, has given me a lot of money as well. He is my top one.
Right.
Sachin used to be growing up. Because of this one event, he will be my top one.
Right.
Because that showed
Yeah.
a lot of leadership skills, right? If your employee was struggling, you would be the first person to step in and cover for him.
Right.
That is being a leader. So then I understood why he is being revered so much. If that natural character of his to help somebody random showed how much he would help if you were his teammate.
Right.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah, makes
but
sense.
that shows what a leader should be like.
Right. Very interesting.
But that changed my life.
Yeah. And
that
I think it's a very deep personal matter of Dhoni that you brought out.
Yeah.
So,
And I've monetized with my ads have more views than my actual original content, right? Thanks to you, because you introduced Vidhu to me.
Right.
Vidhu was the guy who took up the whole project.
Right.
And my ads have reached, Vidhu says, I don't know, 50 crore people.
Wow. Yeah, it makes sense.
Possibly. And out of 50 crore, I think some 10 crores we can attribute that to Dhoni's ad.
My favorite bit in that entire video is the last when he says, "Here she is coming," and then you said, "No, that'll be too much," and then he laughs. Right? It's a very childlike laugh that
very
he has.
Childlike laugh.
And I've read this a lot about him, that what brings joy to him is actually things like these, which are like everyday common life occurrence, which he sees and what you and I would laugh to.
Correct.
So it was a very genuine exchange of emotions. That was really cool.
In fact, if you look at the comments under the video, most people are cherishing that laugh over the trick. So also somebody to see his first crush was a very new thing, at least at that point. Today, after I did that, modestly a lot of people are doing the same thing.
Right.
Other mentalists. But that time it was very new.
Right.
So I leveraged on that, I think.
Any other cricketer, any other celebrity that you had a similar incident? I think Jim Shah was there, right? At some point, I saw some.
Jim Shah. So right now, I'm coming. I was in Dubai last week, so I performed for the entire South Indian cinema industry.
Oh, nice.
Likes of Kamal Hassan. He didn't see me perform, but I kind of opened for him. So I performed for the entire South India's cinema industry.
Yeah, Saima. Ah, right.
You follow?
Yeah, I mean, I know someone who's involved in organizing the event, etc. with them. So
then we'll have common friends.
Yeah, probably.
So I shot a lot of videos with them. Actresses like, I don't think Mrunal Thakur.
Yeah.
So they started following me.
Oh, nice.
It's becoming a fancier life than I had imagined.
Right. Very interesting. Yeah. So has this been any such incident which is very memorable? Not Like, a big celeb, but someone who's relatively unknown, but
Actually-
has been a great incident that's worthy of.
Oh yeah, so many. Actually, I cherish performing to normal people than celebrities.
Right.
Celebrities for the commercial value, for sure.
Right.
But common people show you the most authentic expression. A celebrity will be insecure or be overly secure because camera is there, they have a personality, they have an image and all of that. But a common man, the reaction he or she would give is different. So when I was doing Black Rabbit, so it's true story. Whenever I say this, I get not emotional, but I cherish those days. So every time I have stumbled upon an adversity, something phenomenal will happen that will still convince me, Narpath, you're doing great. I had to cut off swear word.
That's okay, please.
It's okay.
Joel will do that.
Joel. Or the audience are okay. I'm sure these are
okay.
urban audiences who don't care. Right? So I'm performing for a girl. I'm doing table,
right.
Black Rabbit, Indranagar. So I have this piece where I ask you to think of somebody from your personal life, and then I would leave a wallet, and then from the wallet I would pull off a chit that would say, "Hey Saanand, convey my regards to who you thought of." That still today, that is one of my most strongest of pieces I do.
Nice.
I'm doing this tour, which I would do at every table. For me, it's a routine.
Right.
For me, as an artist, I'm performing this at every different table. Same principle, same everything. But for you, it is an emotion. Because you're not coming with me. You're
Right.
sitting at that table, right?
Right.
So this girl I'm performing, I'm 24, 25, still trying to prove to my family I want to do this full time. This girl starts getting emotional. And I am as a kid who's trying to prove I can do this, I'm just thinking, oh my God, my job is gone. If this job is gone, my 20K is gone, I can't pay rent, I can't do this, I can't prove to, right? This is what is running in my head. So I am rushing back home. I finished the show quickly, rushing back home, thinking, oh my God, my job is gone. Before they tell me I will leave, I will somehow manage. Next day I get a call from a random number. I pick up this girl that I performed to last night. She's telling me, Narpath, you have no clue what you have done. I'm like, I don't know, please, did you complain or something? She's like, you have changed my life. So basically that chit, when I asked her to think of the most important person in her life, she thought of her mom. And apparently her mom and her dad have been separated.
Right.
Estranged family. And because of the separation, she had not spoken to her mom for over a decade. I think it's okay to use the word trick, although it is not. That's a different argument. What I would do at every table, I gave the chit to her. She took a photo of that. She used that chit as a form of initiation to speak to her mom back. She's sending me a picture of their family photo of the mom, dad, her, who met because of this one chit. So when things like this happen, in my head, it's something I would do at every table, but it's changed. It's brought back a family back together.
Right.
So that gave me, even till today, every time I face an adversity, I go back to that moment. Oh my God, I'm thinking this is a sort of a trick or something. I would do it every table, or I would do it every show.
Right.
But for that show, for that audience, it is so impactful. Then it gives me conviction. Narpath, fucking do it. Shamelessly do it. Wake up, do it every day. Since you gave permission to use the word,
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So,
and so many events like this.
Yeah, and I think these are the ones that touch you more probably.
So this becomes like a life memory, right? Next, I can tell the same story, authentic story in a different podcast.
Right.
But it's true.
Right.
So it gives me.
Has it been the other side of it? Has it been like a bad one because you?
Oh yeah, so many. I've been so many. I've been booed. I've been asked to leave from stage. I remember, Indigo Live. So they hired me. I think some 7K, 8K to open for a EDM party.
Right.
What a wrong match I was.
Yeah.
Right? But I wanted that 7K. I wanted that 7K. Right. I picked up. So it was a Harry Potter themed some EDM party.
Right.
So they made me dress up like Harry Potter. Not even kidding. This happened right in Kormangala.
Yeah.
Right?
It's shut now, I think.
They should be shut. Sorry. So I'm opening a party where everybody is wanting to party and listen to fast music. My introduction was, a prelude to a party is happening, they stop it. My introduction is, guys, we have Narpath. That's my introduction to a party frenzy crowd. I go, because for me to build up, for me to start telling stories, it'll take a couple of minutes. I start and I'm like being booed. They said, leave. Whole audience are shouting, leave. I went back home and cried like a kid. So all sides. I mean, on one side, phenomenal events that have changed someone else's life. On the other side, I could have quit very easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Great. So I'm very curious to know, how do you go about getting these gigs? Like awareness in India, because like you said, you're not speaking in vernacular, you're not reaching out to your tier 2, etc. It's primarily tier 1 urban audience. So I'm sure the awareness is growing every year into what you do and what the experience could be like.
Correct.
But I'm assuming in the 10 years ago, it was very difficult to sell this as an experience or as an act at any event, right?
I think even today it is little bit. I wouldn't call it difficult, but the market has opened up to new avenues of entertainment, I think.
Right.
I think I can be modest here. People are probably getting bored of the same forms of singing and at an event. In fact, I'm not talking from an art form perspective overall.
Right.
As a live experience, India has opened up, because if you see AGT, BGT, all the talent shows, last 4 years, a lot of magicians and mentalists have been winning it. So we have always been 5 years back.
Right.
So if they are winning it there, it translates back to India. And today, if I do it well, I can probably, I can probably be considered as a good creator as well, not just as a mentalist.
Right.
So today it's opened up. Internet has opened up to all of us, and we can be somebody in our own industry, regardless of what you do. I don't necessarily have to constrict myself to mentalism. Right. So it's picking up madly, and we think this can become the next stand-up comedy. The boom stand-up had. All of a sudden, we were not used to, India as a country, we were not used to watching stand-up comedy live. But today, comedians charge a bomb. They have become personalities in their own right. Likewise, we are trying to create our own pocket.
Right.
Small pocket, but a very impactful pocket.
So how many such, I mean, what's, if I were to ask the total, I can't ask that, but what's the total number? Like how many?
Good ones, I think could be 20, 30.
Right.
Each state will have 3-4 good ones. So you can do the math. Each state will have.
And are these guys, performing in their regional language?
Yes. There are different kinds. Within the small pocket we have, there are sub pockets.
Right.
You will see an old school uncle still performing. You will see a teenage guy still doing card tricks. You will see somebody middle aged who can maneuver between corporate shows, private shows, speaking, teaching. Very small pocket, but in next 5 years it can possibly become a huge wave, is what we feel.
Right.
Because when I started, there were just 3-4. Today, I meet a lot of them than I had imagined.
Right.
So it's becoming a thing.
So how does that meeting go? Like, if I'm assuming someone from a procurement or an administrative team of some company calls you, I'm assuming it's majority inbound.
At this point.
Yeah. So early days, I'm assuming it was outbound, where you had
very much outbound.
So how did you do that? Like, what is it like? How do you go sell yourself?
I think that's why my street days helped me a lot, right? Now I understand what is the hook, what is the first line, how do I convince you?
Right.
That was outbound. Inbound is also difficult because modestly I charge a little premium, and to sell a unconventional art at a premium rate is where the whole game is. I would do just 2-3 shows a month, but I will keep it purely qualitative than quantitative.
Right.
Whereas 4-5 years back, I had to pick up everything and do. So today, they're coming for Narpath as a character. They're not searching for a mentalist who happens to be Narpath.
Right.
They're coming for what Narpath can bring, who happens to perform mentalism.
Right.
I think that is what you also would have become. People are not coming to you, I want an advertising agency. They're coming to you, I want Saanand or virality. You have reached that point, and I think that is what all artists or anybody, any expert in their own field have reached. So work is coming for the uniqueness they bring, not for the industry they belong to.
Right. There's something just popped into my mind now. Do you consider yourself an artist? Like, what's your impression of yourself because you do perform, and people do pay you for what your performance is essentially. So do you look at yourself and do you feel like an artist?
I used to, but today I feel more like a businessman than an artist.
But okay, fine. do expand. Curious.
Do expand.
Because like that's natural. Because at all artists, even footballers, we talk about, right? Ronaldo and Messi are at some level turning their craft into making a living out of it, and then you're pushing the threshold because you can see how much you can do, and it turns into a business. It's very natural. But I've never asked an artist this question, to be very honest.
I come from the opinion that if you limit yourself just to being an artist, you are replaceable, I think. But if you understand business as much as you understand art, because an art is nothing if money is not supplied to you.
Right.
If I could be the most talented, and if I just keep showing it to my mirror, or if I keep performing to my first circle, they're not going to pay me. They're not going to pay my bills.
Right.
Once people started paying my bills for what I performed or what experience I gave, I understood the business side of it, and I understood the branding part of it. And today, if an inquiry came in, very modestly, I act like a celebrity. I act like you want me more than I want you.
Right. Revealing all this, does it help? Does it not help? Revealing all these negotiations, say secrets, if I may call it.
I don't mind. I really don't care. I mean, if somebody is learning from this, I'll be the first one to
that's nice.
Help in whatever.
Right.
Because if you think of yourself just as an artist, you're purely focusing on art. And an artist is, if you want to make it, you have to think like a businessman. No way. If you ask me, Narpath, is there a different mentalist who's more talented as an artist than me? 1000%. There are plenty.
Right.
But if you don't understand business, you get stuck. And it's a very, very bad place to be, at a place where you are extremely talented but you're not being paid for it.
Right.
I would rather be above average and be paid a lot more than be extremely talented and be paid nothing.
Right. So, majority of your earnings come from corporate shows?
Yeah, corporate, private.
Right. And okay, so I'm assuming in corporate there are certain rules, regulations, norms to follow, right?
Yeah.
Often at times I know for a fact that those regulations hamper the artist's freedom to express, etc. So how do you navigate that? Because this is a dilemma that a lot of artists come to, right? That where like a lot of them are very stubborn, don't want to sacrifice their personal value systems and so forth, or philosophy or approach. But how do you tackle that? It's
a little easy for me because my body of work started from doing corporate shows. So I understand the corporate body language, I understand what they want. The show I would do for corporate will be very different from the show I would do if you hired me or somebody else hired me to perform for your family or your friends. So I have different shows, different people, different avenues, different emotions. It'll go back to still mentalism and storytelling, but except here I can do a piece that is, I could use the same technique to achieve the same piece,
right?
But the story can be very different that will appeal to you or your group.
Right.
Same technique used to a corporate audience, but the story is told differently or different emotions being evoked.
Right.
So I'm lucky to have done all kinds of things. And again, everything goes back to my street days. My street days, I understood how to talk to a girl, how to talk to an older lady, how to talk to a teenage college-going kid. So I understood how to talk to everybody. So I can, same technique, same principle, I can tell a different story based on what is who are you based on that. So I attribute everything to my younger street days than anything else.
Right. Would you stop doing corporate shows at some point?
No.
Like if given a choice, right? Because you have your course and then you have, like you said, you're already moving into qualitative zone, which means you're being selective on where you perform, where you don't.
Yeah.
So is there?
I wouldn't stop.
But you just get more selective.
Correct.
You want to price yourself certain way, so then few shows, better returns, more.
So I can. Sorry.
No, please.
I'm sorry. Finish.
I was going to ask, does the size of audience matter for you?
I've performed 1-on-1. I've performed 1 to 8,000 is the max I've performed to. As long as there's a screen that is recording everything, the experience that is happening to you, as long as it is watched by everybody in the same room, doesn't matter. Size doesn't matter.
Right.
Size doesn't matter.
Size of audience doesn't matter. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We get the context. Very interesting. Because like a lot of other forms, I would say more eyeballs is better, right? Like look at maybe stand-up comedy, for example. If you have a large audience, it just adds to the performance a lot more because it's a very give and take reaction kind of business and more frequent. Even for any other music or for that matter, because I think those are events where the gate fees or the tickets actually contribute to the artists.
Correct.
Whereas in yours, because it's more of that experience and often probably I would say paid for by an organizer or an event, it's a little different in terms of dynamics, I guess.
Different avenue.
Yeah.
People coming to watch you behave differently than people who are at an avenue and you happen to be there.
Right. But is there a market for you to sort of branch out and do your own show? Or
I think I have a decent following to do my own shows, but again, I'm very sorry to say this. I'm more of a businessman, so I look at if I'm paid, let's say a couple of lakhs for a 40-minute spot, and if 3-4 shows come to me, as opposed to me promoting an entire show, finding a venue, negotiating with the venue, putting the tickets, the hustle for that is hustle versus money. It's better here.
Right.
It's better at an event where you have done all the work. I'm showing an experience to you, and you have done all the work. And you also, it's like you need me as much as I need you. Whereas here, I have to do everything from marketing to ticketing to venue, marketing, shooting. I've gone a little lazy on that part.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I think you have a team for that.
That's why I have a phenomenal team.
Right. But if you do continue to grow the way you are, and then assume you have 1 million plus or even 10 million followers or so, then at some point you would consider to do something like that, right?
100%. You should.
Right.
Because if they are coming to watch Narpath or Saanand or anything, their energy is very, very different. They have come. They've spent time, money. They've through traffic. They've come. They have issues in their life. They've chosen to spend time with you and money with you. Right. That is a very, very different expectation from their end, and they are pumped up to see you.
Right.
The energy of that room will be very different from a corporate show. Corporate show, you happen to be there.
Yeah.
They are there for a different sales meeting. I happen to be an icebreaker, I happen to be an intermediate, or I happen to be a closer. That's very different from Saanand spent time and money and come through traffic and his own issues to come watch Narpath. Is very, very different. Your energy and my energy will be very, very different in that room.
Right.
So eventually I would love to have my own show and build my own audience and travel. But right now I'm sticking to a little bit of comfort zone and doing a lot of corporate and private shows.
Right.
But that's how I started though. When I was doing street shows, I built my own audience. So I did 2 years of street. I would ask them, if I put up a show, would you come watch? They said yes. So my first 4 shows were people I met on streets in Bangalore. So they came, their friends came, they kept coming, and then that's how it began. But I pivoted more towards corporate and private.
Got it.
I think I should go back to my own shows. I think it's time.
Probably I would just
Thank
I
you.
was
No,
picking
no.
your brain.
No, I should. I think
Unit
I should.
economics, I think in scale works better there, right? Because when you control everything and
True.
Yeah. How do you deal with skeptics? Because I'm assuming your line of work has a lot of people who would, like we discussed about, saying that, oh, this is fake, this is paid for, their actors, this, that. And it becomes probably for some people that might actually be the problem, right? Where they're not able to get through, and that'll be a proper hurdle in the early days.
100%, especially for the nature of what we do.
Exactly.
We have to think we deal with hecklers and skeptics
exactly.
on an everyday basis. Initially, I used to not know how to handle. Today, I use humor. There is no better way to handle a skeptic or a heckler apart from humor. Let's say, for example, let's role play. Let's say you ask me, let's say you're heckling, and I want to stop you. At the same time, I can't be rude to you because there's 1,000 people watching. let's say you're gonna be a heckler, right? Let's say you're asking me, no, I don't believe. Read my mind. That's something I get every time. I'm thinking of something. Usually, the hecklers have a very similar pattern. Read my mind, because they saw somebody else's mind was being read, and you are thinking it is all set up. Then it's natural for you to ask me, read my mind. So, for example, if you're going to do some role play, you're going to ask me, read my mind.
Read my mind.
But in a heckler way, right? You're being very, very polite.
Ooh, read my mind. Like, shout
Right?
from back something.
So, how I would tackle that by on stage is I have to little bit shut you down little bit. At the same time, I can't hurt you. At the same time, I have to make sure the flow of the show is still going on. So I would use humor. Let's say if you heckle me saying, read my mind, I would do something like, sure, I can. Think of anything you want. Think of anything. Right? And imagine sending this to me. Beautiful. I got this, but I'm very, very sorry I can't reveal this. It's a family show. I can't. See? So here I made use you. It's hard for you to have a counter for this. At the same time, I used humor. At the same time, my entire room is laughing. So I come up with the different patterns, different frameworks to counter a heckler. At the same time, I will have to make sure you also somewhere liked me at the end of the show. And then I will make sure I will do something phenomenal for you after the show is done. So you're also convinced leaving the room, oh, Narpath is good. I was wrong. So it comes through hardcore experience, yeah.
Have you had any such incident where like
many.
Has anything got ugly? Like you said something and then
So I've been thrown out of I've been thrown out of a lot of malls. I've been thrown out of coffee shops. One guy thought I was doing black magic. One guy thought I once I got a random call who was convinced I came in his dreams to ruin his life.
So like the first time he met you,
I do not know who he is.
Okay.
I got a random call. He is like, Narpath, you ruined my life. You came in my dreams. I should meet you. I should reverse this. I know. So in a country like India,
did you reverse? Like
I don't even know who he is. I don't even know. I don't know where he got my number from. So crazy things do happen. You have to learn to maneuver. That's why I'm very, very crystal clear. What I'm doing is not supernatural. My job is to make it feel supernatural.
Right.
It's a different form of entertainment. It's like a movie. When you watch a movie, you know it is not real. But you're convinced, just for the duration of the movie, if Shah Rukh Khan played as a cop and if he's pulling off a great role playing as a cop, just for the duration of the movie, you're convinced he's a cop. You know for a fact he's not a cop in real life. For the duration, you are convinced he's a cop as long as he does a good job. Same thing. When I perform, I'm saying it is not supernatural, but I will bloody make it feel supernatural.
Very interesting. What's next for you? Whatever long-term planning you had, you were initially saying that you have a second innings.
Second innings, I think I will want to diversify. I will not want to keep myself to performing, speaking or teaching. I think I'll get into different zones, like let's say through what I've learned through performing mentalism and my street days, I've understood how to talk to anybody, what is the hook, how to be charismatic, how to teach charisma to somebody. And charisma as a topic has not been spoken enough, I think. So I think my next product will be around how to be charismatic or how to talk to anybody, how to break ice with anybody, how to handle human relationships. I think that will be my second phase going forward. Again, learnings do come from this. So I'm going to probably release my next product, which will be around charisma and how to attract people.
Right.
Because that skill, if you have that skill, I think if I can somehow make you like me, I can very slyly sell something to you.
Right.
At some point. Right. The science is in being liked.
Right.
Attracting. So I'm going to teach that science later in my.
You have a time bound goal for that. Like
this year, I think I'm mostly starting with an offline something, just handpicking 10 people for whom this will really genuinely help. It will be a high ticket product.
Right.
So I'm handpicking 10 people, possibly doing a retreat in Goa, 2 days with Narpath. I teach everything. I teach how to use small mentalism tricks to initiate a conversation with anybody. You're going for an interview, tell an interesting story. Instead of asking how are you, which is a very, very normal thing, because it's very boring to ask somebody, hi, how are you? then there is always a pause. And how are you is very namesake.
Right.
Right. So I'm coming up with different frameworks how to instantly make an impact in a room where you're not known.
Right.
If somebody had to enter this room and if they did something crazy, you are going to remember him or her all your life for that eccentric something they did. So I'm teaching people that.
Nice.
So I'm just handpicking a few people.
Right. And what are the courses that you have right now? Like
currently I'm teaching mentalism 101, which is some, I think, 8 tricks or something, I forgot, with which you can enter any room, slay any lay audience. And the idea of that course is not to make you into not to convert you into a professional mentalist, rather how to stand out from any crowd.
Right.
If you could be a kid looking for attention in school, you could be a business guy who is meeting people, who is looking for different stories to tell. Because if let's say somebody is performing something crazy at your office, 100% he's going to be talked about, and he can have an edge over anybody else.
Right.
Let's say if you had a business, I'm just pitching at you, right? Let's say if you had a business meeting that can give you, let's say, 100 crores.
Right.
And if I have to buy something from you, I have to like you more than the product.
Right. Correct.
The biggest of business deals are happening inside a small room where 2 billionaires are sitting and drinking and talking about their common interest and signing $1 billion deal.
Right.
They are not necessarily making that $1 billion dollar deal based on pure technical elements.
Right.
It's very, very human.
Right.
So I'm teaching people that.
Nice.
So right now I'm teaching mentalism 101, which is some 8 tricks that anybody can easily learn and perform. Then there's an advanced course. Now I'm venturing into how to stand out while performing little bit of basic mentalism to stand out. At the same time, how to be charismatic, how to attract people. So once you attract people, I can sell anything to you. So attraction does not mean it is business. I like a girl, I can do this. I like business, I can do this. I want to stand out from my colleagues, I can do this. I go to an interview, I can do this. So I'm attracting a very larger spectrum of people. So hopefully this will do as good as mentalism or better.
Right.
My conviction.
And how does someone reach out to you and like, do you have a website? Like you have...
Very modestly, I'm Googleable, but Instagram is the most active platform for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have a web yet? Like you have a website on which your courses are there?
I have.
You want to just quickly put that out to audience who want to probably reach out to you?
Just type Narpath Mentalism course enough, I think. I think currently the course is done so well. If you type Narpath, the first listing is my landing page to the website.
Right.
Where you can learn. Just type Narpath Mentalism course.
I'm sure your digital track and
my digital team is phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's been trained by the best.
He has been trained by the best. Thank you.
No, I think I can't take that credit.
No, all of us can, I think. Yeah. All of us have given and taken from each other. So it's just gratefulness, nothing else but that.
Right, exactly. See, Joel, this is where you end up. So, Narpath, this was great fun. I think from common interests in football to MS Dhoni to our cricketers and everything. I think this is fabulous.
Absolutely.
First time I've walked into a session without any kind of preparedness or any kind of research, and I think it's been great free-flowing conversation.
I think it's a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment.
For sure. And I think, like you said, hoping to see you back next year.
Please, hopefully. I cannot wait for this one to... You will become... let's aim to make you become the Joe Rogan.
Wow.
Why not?
And then, a cigar.
Yeah. Let's.
I anyway watch a lot of MMA and UFC.
We can do more than cigar.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, we'll have to go shoot probably in Texas or in Amsterdam.
Let's do that. Why not? Why restrict ourselves to
all for
this?
Yeah. Great. I have to ask you to do a trick for sure. I've been sold on this.
Okay.
By your digital team. So.
But you already promised to the audience that you have no clue what's going to happen.
Absolutely. I actually don't know what's going to happen.
Because people think, oh, these two could be friends and it's all set up, right? Cool. I'm curious, what phone do you have?
I have an iPhone.
Do you have the phone with you?
No, it's outside. But I can get
If you can, that will be helpful. And do you have when you open your phone, do you use fingerprint or passcode or what do you use?
Face.
Oh, face. Do you have a passcode as well?
Yeah.
4-digit or 6-digit?
6.
Okay. I think he's a rich man, right? He'll have a lot of money. Which ATM card do you use? Which bank?
I have multiple banks. So
Predominantly, which one do you use? Which bank?
HDFC.
Same here.
Okay.
Does it have a passcode?
Yeah.
4-digit or 6-digit?
4.
Okay. So nothing is prearranged. I want to take your. I have not touched your phone. There's so much distance between you and me.
Yeah.
And there is a mirror here. So I want it. Whatever I'm going to ask you to do, I want to do like this.
Okay.
So
like this?
yeah. Like
Okay.
that. But I'm going to touch your phone like
Sure.
this. Exactly. This will work.
Hmm.
Open your calculator. Again, just warming up.
Sure.
I will show you something else much stronger than this after this.
Right.
There are 2 cameras, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to touch your phone like this.
Yeah. Take my glasses also off.
Yeah, sure.
Reflection, all those things. Yeah.
I'm going to touch your phone like this.
Sure.
I'm going to turn towards this side.
Yeah.
Type a random 4-digit number.
Okay.
Doesn't have to make any sense. My eyes are closed. I'm turning this side. There are 2 cameras on me. So
Yeah.
done?
Yeah.
So just by touching your phone, I'm trying to understand where your fingers moved. It's pure practice. It's got nothing to do with mind reading. I'm sensing, I could be wrong, there's a 7 somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought you would repeat one number, but all 4 numbers are different. There's one number repeating.
No, I actually didn't enter the number by the time I only did 1 and then
Okay,
I should redo this. Clear everything.
Type a random 4-digit number.
Okay. Should I just do this as well so there's no vibration and stuff?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Skeptic.
Yeah.
Please be.
Devil's advocate.
No, I want you to be, please.
Sure.
Random 4 numbers.
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not even going into these
Sure.
numbers. This has no emotion, right?
No,
Let's give some emotion. In
Nothing.
fact, let's give some controversy than emotion.
Sure.
Hit plus sign.
Okay.
Okay, now is the important part.
Okay.
You're in absolute safe hands. In fact, I won't reveal this to the camera. If you tell me, if you give me permission, I can. After plus sign, type your HDFC bank passcode. Done?
Yeah.
Hit equal to.
Yeah.
So Saanand, even if I look at this number, I should be some kind of a math genius to figure out the combination, right?
Right.
I'm a failed engineer.
Okay.
Right? iPhone. Is there a 0 button in the bottom?
Yeah.
Hit that 0 once.
Right.
Show the screen to the camera. Right. I'm gonna very, very openly handle this.
Sure.
I will also, I think camera can see, you can see. Clear this. Okay. I may have done a mistake. Your first name is Saanand. What's your second name?
Middle name or surname?
After Saanand.
Manoj. M.
So there is a reason when you were doing warm up, there's a reason I asked you, there is one number repeating before even you type the actual password, right?
Right.
Because I had a feeling in your actual HDFC passcode, there is one number that is repeating,
Yeah.
right? The number that is repeating is a 2.
It is.
Right? Do you like drama or should I just reveal the passcode like in one go?
I would suggest not because I'll have to then change it.
Can I come and whisper?
Yeah, sure.
That your
Or you can type it and give it to me, right?
Oh yeah. Or I can do it on my phone.
Okay. But send me that as a WhatsApp.
Close? Oh, exactly. Close.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do an experiment.
But that's actually, can you just show that again? Close. One digit. One digit.
Cool. So let's do something with my my calculator.
Sure.
Right. Let's do a role reversal.
Okay.
You're gonna read my mind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? I'm gonna type a random 3-digit number.
Mm.
It means something to me.
Right.
I'm not even telling you what is the significance.
Right.
I'm gonna try and send this number after I type this number. You are somehow gonna figure out what number I typed.
Sure.
Okay.
You sent it?
No, I have typed on my phone.
Okay.
I'm committed.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a clue.
Okay.
The first digit is even.
Okay.
Think of an even digit.
Mm.
The second digit is +2 of the number you're thinking of. Whatever even number you're committed on, Second number is +2 of that number. So start making up a number
Mm.
based on whatever even digit you thought of.
Right.
I do not know if it's 2, 4, 6, 8.
Right.
So if it's 2, your second digit will be 4. It will be 2, 4. I want to start creating.
Right.
All I'm trying to do is to implant that 2, 4, 6, 8, one number, because second, the others I'm dictating. I'm saying 2 plus. So think of an even digit. That's the first number. Second number is +2 of that first number. Third, I'm not trying to do anything. Think of any single digit. So you have a 3-digit number. So first is an even digit. Second is +2 of the even digit. Third is think of any single digit. So you have a 3-digit number, which there is no way I could have. You could have read my mind. Right. I'm curious. What is it?
241.
It's every time. See, I'm getting goes every time this works, because usually people go for 2, 4. I dictated. I say single digit. People go for 1.
Yeah.
So every time this happens, I get goosebumps, right? So let's take it let's do a finale.
Right.
Let's take one step further. Here numbers, right? Let's deal with some emotions. We're gonna play a game called Chain of Thoughts. And through the chain of thoughts, I am somehow confident I can possibly make you think of the final word. Let's say I say cricket. You will say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Based on what you say, I will say something. Right? But before anything happens, I want to commit to one thought.
Right.
So open your phone, open Safari or Chrome. Doesn't matter. I'm going to type the final outcome of this before even we start the game on Safari or Chrome.
Okay. I'm not signed in. Okay.
I'm not checking anything, don't worry.
No.
So I'm typing the final outcome of whatever is going to happen before even we start the game. Right. This is a private board?
Yeah, it is, I guess.
I'll do my phone.
Okay, fine.
Some people aren't comfortable, so I don't
it's
know.
fine. I just went into. I do Google, so I mean I do Safari, so I went into Google for this.
So in my Google,
Sure,
I'm going to commit to one thing. So the topic here is football. Okay. This is what I believe will be the final outcome.
Right.
You're making a story. Make a story of this. We'll tag him. I'll start following right away. The topic is football. Right. If I say football, tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Scholes.
Paul Scholes, our favorite. From Paul Scholes, I want to say shooting. What comes to your mind? Asthma.
He had asthma. See, this, first of all, I dictated football, but it has come to asthma, which is totally irrelevant to football, right? So from asthma, I'm going to say something. The next one is what I've typed. Next one, what you're going to say is what I've typed. Right? From asthma, I'm saying I grew up little bit. I had a little bit of asthma, so I'm using the word childhood because I grew up having asthma. Okay.
See, from football, we have come to asthma to childhood. Whatever you're going to say, I wanted to believe is what I've typed. I don't commit. If this goes wrong, I'll do something else off camera. Right? From childhood, tell me that first word that comes to mind.
Oldham.
Sorry?
Oldham.
OLD space?
OLDHAM. I mean, it's that club he scored his first goal against, I guess. That volley.
Do you want drum rolls? Because I typed old space ham.
Oh.
So
I'm trying to figure.
You're trying to figure.
I'm trying to figure. How did I come?
I can teach you basics how we do what you do. That can be that we can end the overall podcast with that.
Sure.
So to do this, I wake up every Tuesday, 4:30 in the morning. I turn towards the east. I drink 2 ounces of human blood. With that, we end this podcast.
I thought you were going to say I wake up on Tuesday because I play football on Tuesdays in the morning, so I've seen you there. I thought it was going to.
So this is why I fuck with people. When they ask me, I say I wake up and drink 2 ounces of human blood. But otherwise, it's been such a pleasure to do this with you. I hope I gave you an experience that.
Yeah.
As we meet more, I will keep showing you something new every time.
Crazy.
if you want to stay friends with me.
Of course, let's do that. I mean,
This
I'm
mis-
going to use some of these in the future.
yeah.
Once I learn it off you, probably.
Please, I would love to. I would love to.
Right.
You can be part of the first cohort.
Done.
So yeah, good at selling. All of us are.
Done. This is a pleasure. I'm sure.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
These guys also had great fun.
Yeah, without these guys, we're not here. We're not showing the faces of these guys, or we can.
It's okay.
Or
It's
we
not.
don't.
We have a lot of Vidhu's historical footage.
Yeah,
Use it.
and
he
we
looked, he looked better then.
Also, we need good-looking people to show on camera.
Exactly.
So let's
True.
skip that.
It's too bad.
Such a pleasure, man.
Likewise.
Thank you. Means a lot. Thank you.
Crazy. Thank you.